You are welcome back to my channel. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel before we go. Like, comment and share the video. This is a tutorial on how to explain to you how to sharpen to lay. Let me still repeat it again. How to sharpen a set of clipper blade to lay properly, to agree with each other, to comply with each other. They can be able to cooperate together with each other. I mean this upper clipper blade and this bottom clipper blade. When you sharpen them finish, you sharpen the inner surface finish. When you sharpen the inner surface, this is the inner surface you want to sharpen. You sharpen the two correctly. Then when you now put it on top of each other, you mount it on the clipper engine. They will now agree together. They will cooperate together. They will now cut fine. You see the mouth now. This is the mouth that is cutting the hair. You see the mouth. You see the mouth here. So that when you sharpen the clipper blade finish, this mouth, can you see in between the upper and the bottom clipper blade, there will be no gap there. Once you can sharpen, there is any gap in between the upper and the bottom clipper blade surfaces, the clipper blade will not work fine. Let me tell you one thing, if you can sharpen your clipper blade and there is space between here and here now, there is opening between the two, this side will not work fine. And if you can sharpen your clipper blade from the center here to this side, there is gap in between the upper and the bottom clipper blade, this side will not work fine. And at the same time, when you sharpen and this side is closed, this side is closed, this center is open, there's opening in between the upper and the bottom clipper blade, this center will not work fine. And at the same time, when you sharpen your clipper blade from here to here, this center very close together, tight together, but there is space here in between the upper and the bottom clipper blade, and from here to here too there is space. Only the center of the clipper blade will work. And at times I've seen somebody who sharpen clipper blade that only this small side is working. Only these two sides is attached together. There's opening between here, from here like this to the other side here, there's gap. So the clipper blade will not work fine. How are you going to position your thumb? How are you going to make the arrangement on your sharpening that after you sharpen the clipper blade finish, the inner surface, let me show you. This is the inner surface of the, let me take it one by one. This is the inner surface of the upper clipper blade you are sharpening. You see, this is the inner surface you are sharpening. So when you sharpen this blade finish, at the same time, you now pick the bottom clipper blade too, you sharpen the inner surface finished. And you check, you really understand that you have sharpened them right. Then you now fix it on the engine, on the clipper. You know this is how it's going to be on the clipper engine. This is how it's going to be. Which means this inner surface you have sharpened, this inner surface you have sharpened, this inner surface, they have now closed together now. They now face each other. So as they have faced each other now, if there is no closeness in between the two here, if you can see any gap here, at times you can use your eyes to see when you watch it carefully. And at times it may be very hard for you to see with ordinary eyes. But when you now test with mass of air, you put the oil, you now test. You on the clipper engine, you switch it on, and the clipper blade cannot cut air very fine, or it cannot cut air at all, which means the clipper blade is not sharpened correctly. So the inner surfaces of the upper and the bottom clipper blade does not agree together, does not lay. So that is what I mean by we sharpen clipper blade. That is, upper and the bottom clipper blade, we sharpen them to lay together. We sharpen them to lay together, to attach together, to agree together, to comply together. I mean the inner surfaces. The inner surfaces I'll just show you now. So if you can sharpen your clipper blade and you test or you detect that whether through the microscope that there is gap in between the two blades, the inner surfaces, if there is gap, it cannot cut. So before this blade can cut very well now, in between the upper and the bottom clipper blade inner surfaces have to close together. So when the inner surface of the upper and the bottom clipper blades close together, then you do the normal thing you're supposed to do. You apply the oil, you treat it very well. You now use it to cut mass of hair. It will now work fine. Then how do mistake used to come? That many barbers or people sharpening clipper blade, barber engineers, doesn't take aware, or the learners. Yeah, this thing I will have put it in sharpening, but when I put it in sharpening you will not understand it. That is why I prefer to use tutorial to explain. That is explanatory. So when I explain to you very well, you can be able to understand it. Through this understanding, when you want to sharp, you can be able to follow the procedure step by step, one by one after the other. Then when you now test the clipper blade you have sharpened, you can be able to get that the clipper blade is going to work fine. Yeah. Let me show you, or let me explain for you better so that we can be able to get it right exactly what I'm trying to explain. You see the inner surface. Watch carefully. Look at the inner surface of this blade. You see this inner surface? You see it like this? This inner surface you are watching, I only take this one to do example for you. I cannot get a new blade to say I can get exact new blade. It could have been better, but at the same time, this one too is going to work fine like a new clipper blade. When I'm explaining for you and you follow me up properly, you can be able to understand exactly what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to fashion out, what I'm trying to explain better, so that you can be able to get it right. You see, when you find something very, very flat, a flat surface iron, you now sharpen your clipper blade, finish, everything is fine, or new clipper blade have not been used before, you now put this one on top. Maybe you put oil, you apply oil on the surface of the flat iron. You now place this one on top, you now open it back. When you open it back, if this surface is completely flattened, you will see that the oil will touch everywhere here, this front and the back. This front, this area, the oil will touch every part, and at the same time this part, the oil will touch every part, which means the surface of the inner surface of the upper clipper blade is very, very flattened. So at the same time, when you watch the bottom clipper blade too, when you find a flat iron, very, very flat iron, you now apply light oil on the surface of the flat iron. You now place this one on top again. You place it on top of it. You now remove it. So when you remove it, you now check. You know, when you watch carefully, this area cannot touch that plate. This area is down, and this area too is down. It cannot touch. It is only this area, this portion, and this portion is going to touch with that flat surface iron. You have applied the oil on the surface. Then when you now watch the inside very well, anywhere you see that the oil has touched, which means that area is flattened. Anywhere that you see that the oil has touched here, which means the area is flattened. But assuming the oil touch everywhere here in the front, the oil touches everywhere in the back here, then at the same time here, the oil touch every part in the front here, then at the same time the oil touch every part at the back here. So when you now place the upper the clipper blade on top of each other, then you now put it on the clipper engine, you test, you apply the oil, you test it, it's going to work fine. But let me remind you one thing. When you test and you discover that the oil touches one side here, this side, the oil touches for all the cover all this area, this back here, from here the oil touches it, from here the oil touches to the other side. But you discover from the left hand from the center here to the left hand side here, the oil doesn't touch it at all. Then For this one too, you now test. You can see that the oil touches here, this half part, then the other half part here, the oil doesn't touch it. So when you now position it on top of each other like this, it is from here you can know that when you divide this clipper blade into two, this side is not touching with each other at the inner surface. So from the center here to the right hand side here is touching. Can you see it? So now let us watch carefully now. Let us watch carefully. You see the first one I've shown you now. The first one, the oil touches everywhere in the inner surface. The oil touches everywhere in the inner surface. When you put it, you attach it together on the clipper engine, it's going to work fine. Then when the oil touches one part here, then the oil touches one part here, then when you now fix the blade on the engine, one side is going to work, this side is going to work, this side is not going to work fine at all. Can you see it in that way? Then now you now put the you find a flat plate again, you apply the little oil on the surface to cover the whole surface. Then you now position this one on the flat iron. You now discover that the back here everywhere touches the oil. Then the front here, you discover that, look at the area I use the pointer to cover, only this area covers the oil. See this area I use the pointer to cover, this is the only place you can see the oil. From here like this to the front, you cannot see the oil. From this area to the front, you cannot see the oil. Then for the upper clipper blade too, all the back here, watch carefully, all this back, the oil touches everywhere. Then when you place it on the flat place that you apply the oil on the surface, now in the front here now, you now discover, look very well, let me position it very well. See the area that the pointer is placed. You can see the oil here, but towards the edge of the clipper blade here, you cannot see the oil doesn't touch it. So which means this mouth, it has been chopped towards the hub, the upper side. Then when you watch this bottom clipper blade too, you can see the oil cover here. Then for here, you can see the oil only cover here. Then from here like this, the oil doesn't cover it to the front, which means this side I'm placing the pointer on, it has bent towards the down. So when you now place the upper and the bottom clipper blade together on the engine, you fix it together, you will see that there is gap in between the two here, by the center here. It will open mouth down. The opening will start from here to the other side here, which means there is clearance. There is little gap in between the inner surface of this upper clipper blade and the bottom clipper blade. So which means the clipper blade cannot work at all. The clipper blade cannot work at all. So how do we manage to get that kind of error? That is what I want to explain for you. And if you can try as much as you can to really understand what I'm trying to fasten out, when you want to sharp, you will see that you are going to get it right. That is where most of the learners, most of the people trying, barber, stylist, proprietor, barber, engineer, trying to sharpen clipper blade by themselves, that is where most of them used to get it wrong. And once you get it wrong in that way, if you sharpen 1 million set of clipper blade, you cannot get anyone right. I'm telling you sincerely, you cannot get any set of clipper blade right that you sharpen it and it will be working fine. No, because you have been making the same type of mistake, a mistake that you did not even put your mind on. So I want to show you now. Try to follow me up. Try to listen very well and watch very carefully. Try to listen to me very well and watch very carefully. Can you see now, if you want to sharpen clipper blade correctly, there are two things you are looking for on the surface of this blade before this clipper blade can work fine. Number one is total shining. Can you see that this blade is shining? It does not look dull. Something like black is not there. So everything is shining like stainless. Then that is number one. Number two, the whole surface have to be flattened. This whole surface where this pointer is running have to be completely flattened, very flat. That is for the upper clipper blade. For the bottom clipper blade now, you see this side is not there. You see here, You see, you are not sharpening here, you are not sharpening here at the same time. You are only sharpening here. You see here and here. You see it? So you are looking for two things. The total shining have to be there. Total shining. Can you see when you watch this clipper blade very well now? You can see the shining here. You can see the shining here. You can see the shining. Watch carefully here like this. That is where the shining is. When you look at the inner surfaces of this small blade, there is darkish color there, little, which means when you test this clipper blade now, it will not work fine at all. The shining does not cover the whole surface, so it has been used on. So for what I'm saying now, what I'm trying to explain to you, we are looking for two things when you sharpen your clipper blade. Total shining across. See this area? See this area I'm covering? Everything have to shine. The stainless have to show very well. Number two is flatness. It has to be flat in this area I'm covering. It has to be very flat, so that when this inner surface is flattened, the inner surface of this one too is flattened. When you now place them together, there will be no gap in between the inner surfaces of the clipper blade. It will work fine. But let me tell you where people normally get mistake. That when you sharpen clipper blade 1,000 times, you will not get it right. I will explain to you now. Try to follow me up very well. Yeah, follow me up very well now. Assuming this is your stone, you want to sharpen this clipper blade now. To say you want to use this style to sharpen, or you want to bend it like this for sharpening, or you want to bend it in this way for sharpening, anyhow you put it is right. But there's one thing I want to explain to you. Let me use this style for you so that you can be able to get exactly what I'm trying to say. When you divide this clipper blade into two, watch carefully. You divide this clipper blade into two like this, then at the same time you divide it into four. Can you see that this is the center? Here and here is the center, here and here. You see it? So when you want to position your thumb, when you want to sharp, if you let your thumb fall to the back, you know this is the front of the blade that is cutting the hair. This is the back that you use to lay to gather speed. So, but when you divide the clipper blade into two here, then you press your thumb like this one now. See my thumb. When your thumb falls towards the back here, it comes towards the back here, you cannot get your sharpening right. I'm telling you, you cannot get it right. Once you want to sharpen this side again, then look at this pointer. Can you see this is the center? Then your thumb falls towards the back here, towards this back. Watch again, it falls towards the back here now. When you sharpen finish, it cannot get it right. The clipper blade will open mouth down, and I will show you. You see, let me show you something now. When you sharpen and you press your hand here, when you now turn it in this way, this place will go down, this place will be up. Then the moment you position it on the bottom clipper blade, this place, the clipper rod is going to force this one down, and the moment this one is down, this one is going to open the mouth down, because this place is being lower, it's being chopped too much. Can you see? But when you divide the clipper blade into two, then you're sharpening, you position your thumb by the center here. Look at the place I position my thumb by the center here for the first one. Then you go to the other side, you position your thumb by the center here. Take note. You position your thumb, this is the center, by the center here. You position your thumb here for the first one. Then you position your thumb for the second one here. You are going to get it right. Or you let your thumb fall a little to the front, a little. This is the center of the blade you want to sharpen. Let me bring the stone. This is the center of the blade you want to sharpen. This is the center of the blade. Then you want to position your thumb. You let your thumb stay by the center here, or fall little, just little towards the front. You see, this is the center here. When you position it in this way, you sharpen, you are going to get it right. When you position your thumb here, you get it right, you are going to it's going to work. But when you let it fall a little, watch, cover here a little, it's going to work fine. When you let your thumb cover to the front a little, it's going to work fine. Those two areas, when you take note. But when you let your thumb fall towards the back here, you are going to get it wrong. When you let your thumb fall toward the back here, you are going to get it wrong. Take note. That is for the upper clipper blade. For the bottom clipper blade now, watch carefully. This is the back, this is the front. So when you turn it in this way now, some people do mistake. When you say position your thumb by the center of the blade, some people will now measure from here to here. Now put it in the center here. Very, very wrong. Take note again very well for learners, professionals. The center of this blade now, when you ask many people, find the center at the back here, those who want to sharpen clipper blade, they will say it's from here and here. Then they now find the center here. It's very, very wrong. This is the center. I will show you now. This is the back of the blade where it used to lay. This is the front where it used to lay. This is the center here. So when you now turn it in this way, this is the center of the blade. Get me right? So when you want to sharpen your clipper blade now, you put this for the bottom clipper blade. You have to position your thumb by the center. You divide the clipper blade into 2 in this way. Then you divide it into 4 in this way. See the center here. Then you position your thumb here. This is where you are going to position your thumb for the first side. This is where you are going to position your thumb for the other side. This is where to position the thumb for the bottom clipper blade for learners and professionals, here and here. So when the blade is overused, that one is different thing. We are coming to that one. When you use your clipper blade normal, you're supposed to use it maybe under 1 week. You want to sharpen it, that is where you are going to position your thumb. Here like this, here for the first side, here for the other side, here for the first side, here for the other side. Can you see? But for the upper clipper blade, this is where you are going to position your thumb. You see it in this way. You leave small gap here. Watch here. You leave small gap here. You watch it. That is where how and the way you can position your thumb for sharpening, so that when you sharpen your clipper blade finish, I will show you something now. When you sharpen your clipper blades now, you now put them together like this. You cannot get it in this way unless you mount it on the clipper engine that's going to use it. When you now tie the screw finish, you now watch here, take it under microscope. If you follow the way I say you should do it, there will be no gap here. But if you follow the wrong side, I showed you, there will be gap here, and when there is gap here, your clipper blade cannot work fine. I think you get me right? So if you don't get it right, put comment under so I can be able to explain for you again. Yeah, but when you watch this tutorial and you try to understand what I'm trying to fasten out, know when you sharpen your clipper blade. Out of when you are a learner, if you can sharpen 100 set of clipper blade, I'm giving you guarantee you are going to get above 75% alright. And once you can get above 75% alright, the way you sharpen, you test. See the way you position your thumb. When you position your thumb in one way and you test, you get it right, you maintain that side along so you don't drop it down. Thank you. Be expecting another valuable tutorial after this one.